Next up right now we have Daniel J. Kirk. That's a reaction. Daniel J. Kirk studies visual communication and makes work that focuses on the byproducts of urbanization. He creates, asks questions, and travels the world, attempting to discover true connection to himself and to others. Daniel is a native Calgarian and graduated from the University of Calgary in 2007 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Everyone please welcome Daniel J. Kirk.
Applause before I say anything, that's intimidating. Thank you. I guess I'm going to talk today about love. My first presentation had to do with seed. The themes are very kind of weirdly interconnected, I guess, but after following Patrick's speech, I'm just going to probably pick and choose some of his words. Anyway, I start from a foundation of love. You can see here my father, my mother, my brother, myself. Myself, I was always, I guess, maybe an oddball of sorts. I spend more time looking at the little things than kind of the larger picture. I was always really fascinated by this sort of suburban, urban art forms, and I found myself really drawn towards this sort of expressive marks of graffiti and that subculture. What I kind of ended up doing a lot then was experimenting, and through that process I did find that kind of old cliche of you catch more bees with honey than you do with sort of the other thing. You can see very easily though that it might be the same act, that the intention is what drives the content. Getting into kind of my more adolescent phase, I sort of, I developed a lot of relationships with people, a lot with the opposite sex. I continued to be very confused about the whole thing. I've done more kind of reference to kind of the overall like science of love in the last little while. Studying a little bit of this woman's work, Helen Fisher. She kind of breaks love down into these three components: lust, romantic love, and attachment. And they're sort of biologically programmed in all of us. The lust thing is that kind of what allows us to be attracted to everyone. The romantic love narrows it down, and the attachment allows us to kind of tolerate each other, to raise kids, and to kind of move forward that way to long-term marriages. What I'm curious about now is this notion of like instant love. How we kind of have the ability to like things so immediate and click things and just have that interaction so split second. I don't know how that'll impact sort of the long-lasting relationships. I know that that it will have an impact for sure. Anyway, what I've decided to do in the last few years is kind of do these little love-based projects, these little experiments. And instead of having these negative reinforcement things, I decided to kind of go through and do these little gestures of love. This is a project that isn't even a project, it's just a fun little thing that my roommate and I do a back and forth with our neighbors. We kind of do these random guerrilla acts on each other's houses. They had done this to our front porch. They made cellophane people out of themselves and left them for us on our front stairs with little hearts in the middle. And so for me, this whole idea of love is very elusive, and it's something that I continue to kind of study. And I'm working with two amazing people right now, Kai CB and Ivan Osipenko, at a project that we're continuing this back and forth and a lot of headbutting, but there's definitely an undertone of love through the whole thing. The project that I sort of did in the summer that I had a lot of questions about was this mural at the Epcor Center. And it's whimsical, it's also dark, and I think that's sort of where I tie things into love a little bit, is you have to have the kind of highs and the lows in order to experience things in their fullness. This was a sort of part 2 of that mural at the Epcor Center, whereby you're kind of confronted with all these different glances, all these different people. It puts you in the kind of performer role, and I like that idea. I do feel very connected to what Patrick had said earlier about the notion that we do love each other, that we are interconnected to each other in that way. Recently then, I had done a little project where I locked myself in a box on Stephen Avenue for 5 days with no food, and I decided to paint from the inside where everyone could kind of walk by and see the process, and I would be able to kind of expose my skills, my creative process, and that sort of thing. This whole project really only came to be because of the love and support of friends. and family. I mean, that's the foundation for it all. I think that through this kind of undertaking, I understood a lot about what my work as an artist is, and I think that is in the connections to people. It's in forming those connections between myself and the others and allowing the space to exist whereby people can form them with each other. I felt like this process gave me a really unique ability to kind of love the place that I'm from, engage with the city in an entirely different way. The fact that I got the freedom to do this was really interesting too. It conjured all kinds of dialogue, I think, while I was in this box about Occupy Calgary and Occupy this space and homeless and affordable housing and all those sorts of things. And I think that's what an art project is really designed to do, is get those dialogues going where we can connect with each other and connect different ideas to each other. Sleeping in front of people is really strange. Waking up and having people looking in at you and kind of having this this barrier between you, but ultimately creating that that space where you're opening up dialogue and opening up. People would come to the glass and kind of tap on it a little bit and then start talking to each other about what the hell I was doing in that box. Like what is the colorful sort of images? Oh, look, there's a house. Oh, there's an image that I can recognize. The media picked it up and it started going kind of all over the city in different ways. This just sort of shows, I mean, it did get a little bit cold. It kind of got a little bit uncertain as to why I was in there, when I was in there. But I knew that through that process, I would understand more about myself and understand hopefully more about the city that I'm from. And then the people. Ultimately, what I did learn is that love is insanely powerful, that the food that I wasn't putting in my body didn't matter, that the support I was feeling from people came in the form of over 300 different little messages in my mailbox. That was an actual mailbox on the front of that box, whereby people just had warm words of support, and there wasn't really a lot of critical thought about what I was doing in there. It was just a lot of love and support, and I guess that's where we're at right now, is if we support each other, hopefully we'll be able to come up with something that really shapes our city into something beautiful. Thank you.